Armand Vale lived alone on the 42nd floor of a tall silver tower in the center of Earth Prime City. The tower touched the clouds on most mornings. At night, it shone with soft blue lights that moved along its glass walls like quiet rivers. Armand liked the height. He liked the silence. From up there, the noise of the city felt far away. He worked as a systems engineer for Helix Defense Systems. His job was to study signals from deep space and repair complex satellite networks. He was good at his work because he paid attention to small details. He did not talk much. He did not have many friends. Most evenings he came home, made simple food, read technical files, and then slept. That night began like any other night. The city lights blinked below him. Air traffic moved in neat lines across the sky. Armand finished reviewing a data report about strange signal noise near the moon. The signal had been weak but unusual. It repeated in a pattern that did not look random. He saved the file and rubbed his tired eyes. Near midnight, he turned off the lights and went to bed. The room was dark except for the faint glow of the city outside the window. The air system hummed softly. Everything felt normal. At 2:17 in the morning, Armand opened his eyes. He did not know why he woke up. There was no loud sound, no alarm, no vibration, but something felt different. He slowly turned his head toward the corner of the room. 3 figures stood there. They were not shadows. They were not dreams. They were standing clearly in the faint blue light from outside. 3 young women. They wore black and white clothing that looked like maid uniforms from old movies, but the fabric had thin silver lines running through it. Those lines glowed softly, like quiet stars trapped in cloth. Their hands were folded calmly in front of them. Their faces showed no fear. They were simply watching him. Armand sat up quickly. His heart began to pound. "Who are you?" he asked. None of them moved at first. Then the one in the center stepped forward. She had long dark hair tied neatly behind her back and steady gray eyes. "Good evening, Armand Vale," she said in a clear, calm voice. "Please remain calm." "We mean no harm. How did you get in here?" he demanded. The apartment door was locked. The windows could not open. The security system was active. He always checked it. The woman tilted her head slightly. "Entry was achieved without damage," she said. That was not an answer. Armand reached for the small control pad on his bedside table and pressed the emergency alert button. Nothing happened. The screen remained dark. He pressed it again. Still nothing. The woman to the left, who had short silver hair and sharp blue eyes, spoke softly. "Communication systems in this building are temporarily paused. You're safe." "Safe from what?" Armand asked. The third woman finally moved. She was slightly taller than the others, with calm brown eyes and a small, unreadable smile. "From misunderstanding," she said. Armand stood up slowly from his bed. He kept his eyes on them at all times. He stepped backward until he felt the wall behind him. "If this is some kind of joke, it is not funny," he said. The first woman gave a small, respectful bow. "My name is Lyra. This is Neva. And this is Solon. We have been assigned to observe and assist you." "Assigned by who?" Armand asked. There was a short pause. "By the Silent Orbit," Lyra answered. The name meant nothing to him. "I did not hire anyone," Armand said firmly. "Correct," Neva replied. "You did not." They stepped closer, but their movements were smooth and slow. Not threatening, not rushed, almost careful. Armand noticed something strange. Their footsteps made almost no sound. "This is illegal," he said. "I work for Helix Defense. If this is some corporate test, I will report it." "We are not connected to your company," Solon said gently. Lyra looked around the room. Her eyes scanned the shelves filled with books and data tablets. She studied the desk near the window. She even observed the digital clock on the wall. "You maintain a simple life," she said quietly. "Stop acting like you know me," Armand snapped. Lyra turned her gaze back to him. "We know enough," she said. The air felt heavy. Armand forced himself to think clearly. Maybe this was a dream. Maybe he was still asleep. He pinched his arm hard. Pain spread through his skin. He was awake. "What do you want?" he asked. "To observe," Neva said. "Observe what?" Solon answered this time. "You." The single word felt colder than the night air. Lyra walked toward his bookshelf. She reached out and gently touched the edge of a technical manual about quantum signal repair. Her fingers hovered over the page without fully touching it. "Your neural patterns are stable," she said softly, almost to herself. "Stop talking like that," Armand said. He moved quickly toward the bedroom door and opened it. The hallway lights were off. That was strange. They should have been on low power mode. He stepped into the hallway. The entire apartment was silent. Too silent. The kitchen lights were off. The living room screen was dark. Even the soft hum of the air system had stopped. He walked to the main door and tried the control panel. Dead. He pressed the manual override. Nothing. Behind him, the three women stepped into the hallway without sound. "What did you do?" he asked. "Only temporary interference," Lyra replied. "External systems are paused for privacy." "Privacy? You broke into my home." "Entry was necessary," Solon said calmly. Armin felt anger rise inside him. His hand shook. "You have 5 seconds to explain everything before I—" The building trembled slightly. All 4 of them froze. A low vibration moved through the walls, like distant thunder. Armin ran to the living room window. Above the city, far beyond the normal air traffic lanes, strange lights moved across the sky. They were not planes. They were too large, too bright, too silent. They glided in perfect formation, then stopped suddenly. The clouds around them glowed faintly. "What is that?" Armin whispered. The 3 women stood behind him. "Observation phase has begun," Neva said quietly. "Observation of what?" Armin demanded. Lyra stepped beside him and looked out at the lights. "Of humanity," she said. The lights pulsed once. And all power in the city went out. Every building went dark. The sky lost its glow. The only light left came from the strange objects above and the faint silver lines in the maids' uniforms. Armin stared in shock. The city had never lost power completely. Not even during major storms. His reflection appeared faintly in the window glass. But something was wrong. There was a soft glow around his outline. Very faint. Almost invisible. He leaned closer to the glass. The glow remained. "Do you see that?" he asked. Lyra studied him carefully. "Yes," she said. "What is happening to me?" The building trembled again. Far below, a distant sound echoed through the dark streets. It sounded like metal bending. Neva looked toward the sky. "They are testing response patterns," she said. "Who is they?" Armin shouted. Solon answered calmly. "Another civilization." The word hit him harder than the tremor. "This is not possible," he said. "It is," Lyra replied. She stepped closer to him. Close enough that he could see tiny shifting patterns inside her gray eyes like moving stars. "You are not in danger from us," she said. "But you are important to what comes next." Armand shook his head. "I am just an engineer. I fix satellites." "You are more than that," Neva said softly. Another pulse of light moved across the sky. This time it felt heavier, like pressure against the air. Armin felt something strange inside his chest. Not pain, not fear exactly. Energy. It moved through him like a quiet current. The faint glow around his reflection grew slightly brighter. He stepped back from the window. "Make it stop," he said. "We cannot," Solon replied. "Then why are you here?" Lyra looked at him with calm focus. "To watch. To guide. And, if necessary, to protect." The word protect echoed in his mind. Outside, the strange lights suddenly vanished. The sky became empty again. A second later, power returned to the city. Lights flickered on in every building. Traffic resumed. The air system hummed back to life. It was as if nothing had happened. Armin stood frozen. He looked around his apartment. Everything seemed normal again. Except for the 3 women standing quietly in his living room. "This is not real," he whispered. Lyra met his eyes steadily. "It is only the beginning," she said. Armin looked once more at the window. His reflection no longer glowed. But deep inside he knew something had changed. And the 3 silent observers were still watching him with careful interest, as if he were the most important thing in the entire city. The next morning, Armin Vale woke to sunlight streaming through the window. For a moment he thought it had all been a dream. The city outside moved normally. Vehicles glided along the streets. People walked to work. Everything looked ordinary. He sat up in bed and rubbed his eyes. The 3 women were already there. Lyra stood near the desk, looking at some of his papers. Neva arranged a few books on the shelf. Solon moved quietly toward the kitchen, placing cups in order on the counter. "Good morning," Lyra said softly. Armin stared at them. He tried to act calm, but the memories of the previous night pressed heavily on his mind. "You need to leave," he said. "I will call the authorities if you don't." Neva shook her head. "That will not help. They will not see us." They will not understand." "Who?" Armand demanded. Solemn turned from the kitchen. "The ones above. The ones who sent us." "Sent you for what?" he asked, his voice rising. "I am just a man. I live alone. I work with satellites. There is nothing special about me." Lyra stepped closer. "There is more to you than you know. Your mind has the rare ability. You can affect probabilities. When you are under pressure, you can change the outcome of events around you." Armin frowned. "Impossible." "That is nonsense." Neva moved toward him, her blue eyes calm but serious. "You do not believe us. That is normal. But watch carefully." She gestured toward the table. A glass of water sat there. Armin watched as she focused on it. Slowly, the glass lifted into the air. It wobbled, then turned in place. He blinked and stepped closer. "How?" he whispered. "Concentration," Neva said. "We guide you, but this is only the beginning." Armand stumbled back. He shook his head. "This is crazy." "I am not doing anything." Lyra nodded. "You do not believe it yet. But your abilities are not ordinary. That is why they chose you." "They?" he asked again. "The Silent Orbit," Solon said, her tone calm. "A distant alliance that monitors planets with life capable of unusual thought patterns. You were observed for many months before we arrived. You are not like most humans." Armand's mind raced. He tried to understand. His hands shook slightly. "Why me? Why here?" Lyra looked at him steadily. "Because your mind carries what is needed to survive what comes next. Your species is about to be tested, and you are part of that test." Armin swallowed hard. He wanted to refuse to believe it. He wanted to act like nothing had happened. But, deep inside, a small part of him knew he could not ignore the strange events. He remembered the lights in the sky, the trembling of the building, the glow that surrounded him. Everything had felt real. Too real to be imagined. He took a deep breath. "If this is true, then why are you here instead of them? Why not explain everything at once?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Observation is part of training. We are here to guide, not to take over. Understanding comes slowly. You must first accept what you are before you can use it." Armand looked at the floor. The thought of being something more than human was frightening. Yet he could not deny the strange pull he had felt. Suddenly, a low vibration passed through the tower. The glass windows rattled lightly. All three women stiffened. "That was not an accident," Neva said. Armand ran to the window and looked outside. Far above the city, he saw tiny, dark shapes moving rapidly, faster than aircraft. He squinted. The shapes disappeared, then reappeared. Their movements were precise, controlled. "Who are they?" he asked, fear tightening his chest. Solon answered. "The ones testing your species. The ones watching humans from space." Armand's knees weakened. He staggered back. "Testing? Why? What could humans have that they care about?" Lyra moved closer to calm him. "Humans have hidden potential. Most do not realize it. They can think differently, act unpredictably, and survive when others fail. Your abilities are a rare version of this potential." Armand tried to speak, but no words came. He felt a strange tingling in his body, like something inside him was awakening. He turned to the women. "I don't understand any of this. How can I control anything I don't know exists?" Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. "You will learn, slowly, step by step. For now, observe. Watch how your thoughts interact with small events. Practice without fear. We will guide you." Armand's mind was full of questions. He looked out the window again. The shapes in the sky were gone. Everything seemed quiet. Too quiet. "Can you leave now?" he asked again, trying to regain some control. The three women shook their heads. "Not yet," Neva said. "We will not leave until you understand your importance and your abilities are ready." For the rest of the day, Armand tried to go about his routine. The women moved around him silently, cleaning, observing, always present. Their presence was both comforting and unnerving. He could not focus on work. Every time he tried, he felt a pull in his mind, as if invisible threads were stretching toward him. Late in the afternoon, Armin's neighbor, Mr. Daniel, came to the door to borrow a tool. Armin opened the door, expecting to show a normal scene, but the three women were standing quietly in the hallway, perfectly still. Mr. Daniel looked around, confused. He saw Armin, but he did not see the women. "Is everything okay?" Mr. Daniel asked. "Yes," Armand said quickly. He closed the door gently. Inside, he turned to the women. "They don't see you." "They cannot see you. How is that possible?" Lyra smiled faintly. "We are cloaked in a low-energy field. Only you can perceive us fully. We do not interfere with others unless necessary." Armand sank into a chair. He rubbed his face with both hands. This is insane. Neva knelt in front of him, placing a hand gently on the table. You will learn. First, you must accept that what you are seeing is real. Only then can you begin to understand the limits of your power. The sky darkened outside as evening came. Armin turned on his small desk lamp. He stared at the pages in front of him. Quantum signal diagrams, satellite repair notes, and notes on probability patterns. He tried to focus. Then the air around him shifted. A faint hum filled the room. The women stood in their places, motionless but alert. Suddenly, his data tablet glowed softly. Numbers on the screen rearranged themselves. Patterns he had never noticed became visible. He touched the tablet. His fingers traced a moving line. He felt a sudden clarity in his mind. What? What is happening? He whispered. Solon moved forward, her eyes calm. Your mind is interacting with the signals. You did this without realizing it. It is only a small example of your potential. Armand sat back, stunned. He felt both fear and awe. He had never believed anything could be possible like this. And yet he had done it. Lyra's voice broke the silence. There is more to come. The others are watching closely. You are important. The test has already begun. Armand looked out the window again. The city lights blinked below. Everything seemed normal, yet he knew nothing would ever be the same. The women, silent and calm, were more than observers. They were guardians, teachers, and perhaps the only allies he would have in the challenges ahead. The night fell. The three women stood together, watching him, as if they could see the future inside his mind. Armin felt a mix of fear and determination. He did not know what would come next, but he knew one thing. His life, and perhaps the life of his entire world, was about to change forever. The morning began quietly, but Armin Vale could feel tension in the air. Even though the city appeared normal, a subtle change hovered over everything. Birds flew in odd patterns, cars moved slower. Pedestrians paused briefly as if they sensed something unusual. Armin could not shake the feeling of anticipation. The three women, Lyra, Neva, and Solon, moved silently around his apartment as usual. They made breakfast, cleaned the surfaces, and observed him constantly. Their presence was calm, yet every glance seemed full of meaning, as if they were measuring something invisible. Armin sat at his small dining table, eating mechanically. He tried to think about work, the satellites, the strange signals, anything that could feel normal. But he could not. The events of the previous night, the glow that had surrounded him, the words of the women, and the strange lights in the sky all swirled in his mind. At 11:03 a.m., a sharp vibration shook the building. The windows rattled. Armin jumped from his chair. The three women froze instantly. Their eyes turned toward the city, calm but alert. Outside, he saw machines descending from the sky. They glimmered metallic silver and black, reflecting the sunlight. They moved in a strange, precise manner, landing on roads and open spaces across the city. At first they seemed small. Then he realized their size. These were not drones. They were larger, armored machines, each one the size of a small bus, with glowing cores. Alien machines, Solon whispered, though her voice was calm. They are testing the planet, observing responses. Armin felt his chest tighten. He had never seen anything like this. Fear gripped him, but there was also a strange underlying excitement. He had always wanted to work in space systems because of the unknown. Now the unknown was here. Lyra stepped beside him. Your species is being evaluated. Survival under pressure is their measure. You are part of this evaluation. What does that mean? He asked. You are more than an observer, Neva said softly. You will play a role. But first, watch and learn. He could not watch calmly. News alerts flooded his tablet. Cities across the planet reported similar machines. Electrical grids were failing. Panic spread through broadcast feeds. Humans ran in confusion, trying to protect themselves. Armin wanted to act, but he felt powerless. His body trembled. He had never been in a crisis like this, and yet deep inside he felt something awakening. A quiet sense of potential. Lyra noticed and placed a hand on his shoulder. Concentrate. Focus your mind. Small actions first. At that moment, a massive energy pulse hit his apartment building. The walls shook. Windows cracked. Armin grabbed the table for support. Debris fell from the ceiling. The three women moved swiftly, catching fragments before they hit him. Calm yourself, Solon instructed. Fear feeds chaos. Control is needed. Armand closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and tried to focus. For a moment, time seemed to slow around him. A shard of glass hung in the air, and he reached out instinctively. It floated toward his hand and dropped safely to the floor. His heart raced. Something deep inside him had shifted. The maids exchanged glances. Lyra whispered, "He is evolving faster than expected." The city below was chaos. Machines attacked with energy pulses, dismantling vehicles, causing fires. Helicopters tried to intervene but were no match. Emergency alarms wailed. People ran blindly. Our man felt a pull to help, even though he did not know how. His apartment was shaking again. He heard a crash outside and ran to the balcony. A pedestrian was pinned under debris from a collapsing structure. Instinct took over, he focused. The debris moved slightly. Slowly, it shifted away. The person scrambled free. Our man's hands were shaking. The glow he had seen before briefly returned around him. The three women watched quietly. Lyra's eyes narrowed. We will guide him further. As power grows under stress. Far above the earth, a massive fleet hovered behind the moon. Commander Varric observed the chaos below. He was tall, armored, and calm. He tapped controls on his command chair. Activate Phase 2. Test their limits. Observe the rare human anomaly. Varric's voice echoed inside the fleet. The term human anomaly intrigued him. Most species he observed reacted predictably under fear. Humans did not. This unpredictability fascinated him. Back on Earth, Armin felt the glow surge again. A second energy pulse from one of the machines hit his building. He was thrown against the wall. Pain shot through him. But he noticed something strange. His reaction was faster than normal. He dodged falling debris instinctively. He moved with speed beyond his usual human ability. The maids noticed immediately. Neva whispered, "The anomaly is awakening fully. This is the moment of first test." Armand's mind raced. His fear clashed with determination. He tried to stop the machines outside using his mind, but they were too far, too many. He could barely influence small objects in his immediate area. Then, a new figure appeared on his tablet feed. Captain Rayhan Holt of Earth Defense Command led a squadron trying to intercept the machines. Their weapons fired, but barely caused scratches. Each pulse from the alien machines outmatched human technology. Rayhan's squad was brave, but failing. Armand felt helpless. He sank into a chair and watched the city burn. He thought about what the women had said. Observation. Survival. The maids moved closer. Lyra placed a hand on his arm. Your abilities are not fully understood. They will grow with focus. You must choose to use them. A sudden tremor hit the building. Windows shattered. Glass flew toward Armin. Without thinking, he extended his hand. The glass stopped in midair, as if held by invisible threads. His breathing quickened. The glow returned around him. It was stronger now. Solon moved behind him. He is ready to take small actions. Encourage control, not fear. Armin's mind sharpened. He thought of small objects in the room. He moved them without touching them. A broken lamp floated down gently. Pieces of the ceiling debris shifted aside. He felt power and fear together. He realized the women had been guiding him in ways he had not understood. They were not only observers, they were teachers. The city below continued to burn. People ran in panic. Emergency responders struggled. Machines attacked with relentless precision. Armin focused. He saw a group of children trapped in a collapsing school structure. He raised his hands slowly. The beams above shifted. The roof stopped collapsing. The children scrambled out. Armin's body shook. Sweat ran down his face. Lyra's eyes softened. They are safe. Your control is increasing. Outside, distant energy pulses hit other parts of the city. Captain Rayhan's squadron was struggling. A skyscraper nearby collapsed partially. Armin felt a surge of instinct. He could not save everyone, but he realized he could save some. The maids watched him silently, no words. They were measuring his reactions, guiding without interference. Armin understood. He had passed the first challenge in part. He had used his power without fully understanding it. Far above, Varric observed. Interesting, he murmured. Human anomaly behaves unexpectedly. They adapt quickly. This will require further observation. The first attack was a test. Machines had fallen. Humans had panicked. Yet some had survived against impossible odds. Our man felt a small thrill. He had saved lives. He had acted instinctively. He had felt the glow return. Lyra, Neva, and Solon moved closer, their faces calm, but their eyes intense. Tomorrow, Lyra said softly, the next phase begins. Your skills will be tested more. You are not alone, but the challenges will increase. Armand sank into a chair. He looked out over the city. Smoke rose from collapsed buildings. Sirens filled the air. Humanity was under attack. And he had just begun to awaken. He felt fear, but beneath it, something new. A strange, growing confidence. He was no longer only an engineer. He was part of something larger, something he did not yet understand. Something that might determine the survival of his entire world. The sun set. The machines remained in parts of the city, disabled but not destroyed. Humans were exhausted. Emergency responders worked tirelessly. But Armin knew this was only the beginning. The three women stood silently in his apartment, watching, guiding, preparing him for what was to come next. He would need their guidance. He would need his power. And soon, the world would demand both of them. The night was quiet, but Armin Vale could not sleep. The city outside was recovering from the first wave of attacks, but the damage was visible everywhere. Smoke rose from collapsed buildings. Emergency vehicles moved in constant motion. Humans were exhausted but surviving. Armand sat in his small living room, staring at the tablet screen. Data from the attacks had been collected. He tried to analyze it, but his mind was scattered. The strange glow from before lingered faintly in his awareness, reminding him of his abilities. The three women, Lyra, Neva, and Solon, moved around quietly, cleaning and organizing, but their eyes constantly returned to him. There was calm, but also a sense of urgency in their movements. Lyra finally spoke. "It is time you understand the truth about your species." Our man turned to her, his expression tense. "What do you mean?" Neva stepped closer. "Thousands of years ago, an ancient cosmic race altered early humans. They embedded hidden codes within the DNA. Most humans never activated. Only under extreme stress does it awaken in rare individuals." Armin laughed nervously. "DNA codes? Cosmic races? Are you serious?" Solon spoke quietly. "It is real, and you carry a complete version of that code. Your abilities are not an accident. You were chosen by circumstances and design." Armin leaned back. The thought was overwhelming. So what I did during the attack? The glass, the debris, saving people, that wasn't me. Lyra shook her head. "It was you, but guided by the code inside you. You did not understand it. That is why we are here. To help you control it, to help you grow." Armin tried to process it. His hands shook slightly. "Why me? Why now? Why Earth?" Neva looked out the window, her eyes scanning the sky. "Your world is being observed by a fleet above. They are testing humanity's response to extreme situations. Humans are unique. You adapt, improvise, survive. Others do not. You are the rare example of this potential." Armin's heart raced. "Testing? So the attacks, the machines, it was all to see how humans react?" Solon nodded. "And to observe you. You are a key example." Our man closed his eyes and rubbed his face. He felt fear, anger, and something unfamiliar. Responsibility. He thought of the people he had saved, of the chaos outside. The thought that his actions could matter on such a scale weighed heavily on him. Lyra placed a hand on his arm. "Your role is just beginning. The next phase will test your ability further. You will face situations that cannot be solved by instinct alone. You must learn to control your mind." Armin swallowed hard. "I don't even understand what I can do." Neva knelt in front of him. "Focus on your emotions. Do not fear them. Fear weakens humans. Courage and clarity strengthen them. When you act with awareness, your abilities will manifest more clearly." Our man looked out the window. The city was still in partial blackout. Humans were moving cautiously. Fires burned in the distance. Emergency teams struggled to maintain order. He realized that the attacks had not destroyed humanity. People had survived. People had helped each other. That was the human potential the women spoke of. Suddenly, a distant sound drew Armand's attention. A deep mechanical hum echoed through the air. The machines had returned. This time, they moved faster, more organized. Energy pulses lit the skyline. Panic rose across the city. Lyra and Neva exchanged glances. "This is your moment," Lyra said. "We will guide you, but you must act." Armin rose, his fear tempered by determination. Objects began to move with his thoughts. A chair floated slightly. A fallen lamp rotated gently. He realized the control was improving. Solon approached, placing a hand near a tablet. The screen displayed a group of trapped civilians in a nearby building. Armin's eyes widened. "I can help them?" Lyra nodded. "You must focus, one action at a time." Armin closed his eyes, breathing deeply. He imagined the structure shifting without collapse. Slowly, The beams realigned. Dust fell, but the walls held. People moved to safety. Armand felt exhaustion, but a thrill of success. His mind had made a difference. Suddenly, alarms sounded from the city defense systems. Captain Rayhan Holt's squadron engaged the alien machines. Explosions echoed in the distance. The machines fired pulses, and the squadron struggled to match them. Even their advanced weapons had little effect. Armin realized his abilities alone could not save the city, but he could influence small outcomes. The maids guided him silently. Neva whispered, "Focus on where your power can make a difference." Armand's mind worked rapidly. He saw obstacles and potential paths. He shifted debris to protect people. He moved objects to block attacks. Each action drained his energy, but he felt the glow within him grow stronger. He understood now. Fear weakened him. Control strengthened him. The maids observed, never interfering directly, only guiding. Solon whispered, "The code within you reacts to pressure. The greater the challenge, the stronger you become." Hours passed. The city remained under threat, but Armand's actions saved many lives. He understood he could not save everyone, but he could make a difference. That realization gave him courage. Finally, the alien fleet observed in silence. Varric, the commander, watched the signals of Armand's energy. "Interesting," he murmured. "The anomaly is more capable than expected. This human evolves under pressure." Armin collapsed into a chair, exhausted but alert. The three women stood nearby, calm and unwavering. Lyra's hand rested on his shoulder. "You are beginning to understand. The next phase will be more difficult. The stakes will rise. You are not alone, but you must lead yourself." Outside, the city recovered slowly. Emergency teams worked tirelessly. Humans moved with courage and resourcefulness. Armin realized the truth. Humanity was unpredictable, resilient, and stronger than many species he had imagined. As night fell, he stood at the window, looking out over the city. The lights glimmered through the smoke. Sirens echoed. Fires still burned in the distance. But the people survived, and he understood that he too had survived and grown stronger. The maids stood silently behind him, watching. He felt a mix of fear, responsibility, and determination. The next phase would come, and when it did, he would have to be ready. He would have to use the hidden potential within him. Humanity's true strength was yet to be revealed, and he was part of it. The city had grown quiet after the recent attacks, but the calm was only temporary. Armin Vale sat on the edge of his bed, exhausted but alert. His body ached from using his abilities, and his mind was stretched to its limits, yet he could not rest fully. The city needed him, even if he did not know the full extent of what he could do. Lyra, Neva, and Solon moved around the apartment as they always did, calm and composed, observing him closely. Their eyes reflected concern, calculation, and an unspoken message. The challenges were far from over. A sudden alert from the city defense network shattered the quiet. Lights flashed across the building's screens. Armand rose to look. Alien drones had returned, larger and more organized than before. Energy pulses streaked across the skyline. Humanity's defenses struggled to contain them. Captain Rayhan Holt, leading the city defense squadron, appeared on the feed. His face was tense, his armor scorched from previous attacks. "We cannot hold them for long," he said. "We need reinforcements." Armin clenched his fists. He felt fear, but also a growing determination. He could no longer observe. He had to act. Lyra approached. "They are stronger this time. You must be ready." Armin nodded. "I will try." The alien commander Varric appeared outside the tallest building in the city. His figure was massive, his armor gleaming in the faint light. He moved slowly, confidently, with the presence of someone who knew victory was within reach. He had come to observe Armand personally. Armin felt a surge of energy. His eyes glowed faintly. He raised his hands instinctively. Objects in the room shifted slightly, responding to his thoughts. The maid stepped forward. Their maid uniforms changed fluidly, transforming into advanced armor, luminous and sleek. Their presence now was clearly that of warriors, not observers. Armin realized that they had been hiding their true strength. Lyra, Neva, and Solon were not only guides, they were guardians, trained to protect and fight. Varric's voice echoed across the city. "Human anomaly, you are alone. Fear will break you. Your kind always destroys itself when under pressure." Armand's heart raced. He felt doubt creeping in. He looked down at the city below. Buildings damaged, people injured, chaos everywhere. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on him. The first attack had been a test. This was the second, more dangerous phase. Varric raised his hand, releasing a wave of energy. The building shook violently. Arman was thrown across the room. Debris fell. The maids moved to shield him. Pain shot through his body. He struggled to focus. Then he remembered the women's lessons. Calm, focus, awareness, courage. Fear would weaken him. Control would strengthen him. He closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Concentrating on his emotions, he reached out mentally. Objects in the room floated, forming a protective barrier around him. Debris stopped midair. The glow around him grew brighter. Varric advanced. His energy pulses struck the barrier, but it held. Armin's control strengthened. He realized he could influence not just objects nearby, but the environment slightly beyond. A stray energy pulse from Varric's attack bent, missing its target. The maids watched silently. Their expressions were calm but alert. Solon whispered, "He is learning quickly. The human anomaly responds faster than predicted." Armin felt a strange connection to the chaos outside. He saw falling beams, moving vehicles, and frightened citizens. He reached out mentally. Slowly, objects moved to protect them. A crumbling wall shifted, a car lifted slightly to avoid impact, a beam changed direction midair. He was exhausted, but it worked. Varric looked intrigued. "Interesting," he murmured. "The anomaly adapts under pressure. This is rare." Armin's focus intensified. He thought not of himself, but of the people he could help. The city became his responsibility. The energy pulses from the alien commander shifted as he guided them instinctively. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a force, subtle but effective. The maids stepped beside him, lending their support. Lyra spoke softly. "Now lead. Trust yourself. Humanity's potential is revealed through action, not fear." Arman's thoughts sharpened. He acted deliberately. Falling debris shifted, children were guided to safety, vehicles were moved from collapsing streets, energy pulses from Varric's attacks were deflected subtly, without confrontation, using only focus and control. But using the power drained him quickly. His body shook. Sweat poured from his face.
Pain surged. He felt weakness, creeping in.
Varric approached closer. His presence was overwhelming, his energy immense. He struck with a powerful wave, aimed to destroy. Armin felt his defenses falter. Then he remembered the humans he had seen helping each other during the first attacks. The firefighters, doctors, and ordinary people who stood together in chaos. Humanity did not collapse. Humans adapted. They helped each other. They survived. A surge of determination passed through him. His glow intensified. He shifted focus, letting the environment respond to his mind. The energy wave missed, deflected by his controlled influence. Arman realized that fear could not guide him. Courage could. Focus could. Varric paused, observing closely. "Fascinating," he said. "The anomaly is not merely reactive. It is strategic. Human unpredictability is unique." Armin felt the exhaustion, but a deep confidence grew. He was learning to control the code within him, to harness the rare potential embedded in his DNA. The maids moved beside him, supporting and guiding silently. Their true strength now clear, they fought alongside him without direct confrontation, letting him lead. They understood that this was humanity's test, and Arman's abilities were central. The city below was battered, but people survived. Energy pulses from alien drones faltered under the subtle influence of Arman's mind. Fires were controlled, debris shifted, and lives were saved. Varric, observing, realized the anomaly had reached a level he had not predicted. Humans were stronger than expected. The rare human potential was not just surviving under fear, it was thriving under courage and action. Arman, though exhausted and in pain, understood a vital truth. Power alone did not win battles. Understanding, control, and courage did. As night fell, the alien commander withdrew slightly, observing from a distance. The city had survived this test, and Arman's abilities had played a decisive role. The maid stood silently behind him. Lyra's hand rested on his shoulder. "You've passed this phase, but the challenges ahead will be greater. You are ready, but only barely. Humanity's true potential is yet to be fully revealed. Prepare yourself." Arman looked over the city, breathing heavily. The glow of his abilities faded slowly, leaving him exhausted but determined. He had survived, guided humanity's fragile survival, and awakened to his potential. The real test was still to come, and he was ready to face it. The morning after the last attack was eerily quiet. Armanvale stood at his window looking over the city. Buildings were scarred from the previous battles. Fires had mostly been put out, and humans moved cautiously among the rubble. But the city had survived. Humanity had endured, and Armand understood more clearly than ever the weight of his role. The three women, Lyra, Neva, and Solon, moved around the apartment in their usual, silent manner. But today, there was a new energy about them. Their presence seemed stronger, more purposeful. Armand realized that the next challenge would push him further than he had ever imagined. Suddenly, his tablet beeped. An alert from the city defense network displayed a massive incoming energy field, larger and faster than anything before. The alien machines were returning in greater numbers, coordinated more efficiently, and with far more power. Lyra turned to him. "This is the final test. Your abilities will be challenged to their fullest. You must use everything you have learned. Your focus, your courage, and your control will determine not just your survival, but the survival of many." Armand felt a surge of fear and adrenaline. He nodded slowly, steadying himself. "I'm ready." The energy field approached rapidly. From his window, he could see the machines forming patterns, preparing to strike with precision. Panic began to rise among the people in the streets. Emergency teams tried to evacuate civilians, but chaos spread quickly. Neva stepped beside him. "Concentrate on your environment. The code within you will respond. Remember, your mind shapes reality in subtle ways." Armand closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The glowing sensation returned, spreading through his body. He reached out mentally, feeling the objects around him respond. Coffee mug, rose, then a chair, then the subtle flow of air currents. His awareness expanded, encompassing more than the room. He felt the city's chaos as a single network, threads of potential outcomes moving before him. Solon's voice guided him softly. "Do not act out of fear. Do not act to control everything. Guide what you can. Protect what matters most." Armand's eyes snapped open. He saw a group of people trapped beneath debris from a collapsing building. He focused, and the rubble shifted, allowing the people to escape. The glow around him intensified, brighter than ever before. He felt energy flow outward from him, connecting with the objects and environment. Lyra, Neva, and Solon moved beside him, cloaked in their luminous armor. They were ready, but they did not interfere unless necessary. Their presence was both reassuring and a reminder of the stakes. Outside, the alien machines began their attack. Energy pulses shot toward the city. Armand instinctively raised his hands, reaching out with his mind. The pulses bent slightly, some dissipating before reaching the ground. Debris shifted to block falling structures. His control was imperfect, but improving rapidly. Varric, observing from the alien fleet above the moon, noticed the anomaly's growth. The human anomaly adapts too quickly. It evolves under pressure. This is unprecedented. Armand felt a connection forming between his thoughts and the city itself. His abilities expanded, allowing him to influence not just objects nearby, but entire movements of debris, structural collapses, and energy pulses within a limited range. He realized that fear paralyzed him, but awareness and focus magnified his potential. He guided falling structures to create safe paths, redirected energy pulses, and stabilized collapsing buildings. Each action drained him physically and mentally, but the glow within him grew stronger with each success. The alien machines pressed harder, adjusting to his influence. They unleashed coordinated waves of energy designed to overwhelm him. Armand's mind raced. He had to prioritize to act with strategy. He focused on protecting civilians first, letting the Maids support him silently, their armor glowing softly as they augmented his guidance. Lyra whispered, "Do not hesitate. Every choice matters. Focus on what you can change." He acted decisively. Energy pulses were redirected, falling debris was manipulated, and human lives were saved through his focused control. Each successful action reinforced his abilities, and the glow around him intensified until it filled the room. Finally, Varric realized that direct confrontation would not work. "Impossible," he muttered. "This anomaly, it is unlike any observed life form. It cannot be predicted." Armand felt exhaustion hitting him. His body shook and sweat poured from his face. Yet the glow persisted. His mind, sharper than ever, orchestrated actions with precision. The city below survived wave after wave of attacks. Humans adapted, evacuated, and moved strategically. He had become the unseen guide of their survival. Solon stepped beside him, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "You are nearing your limit. But remember, your power is strongest when aligned with purpose and clarity." Armand understood. Fear was weakening him momentarily, but clarity, courage, and focus restored strength beyond normal human limits. He concentrated fully, every thought intentional, every action precise. The alien machines faltered. Their energy pulses dissipated or were subtly redirected. Falling debris avoided humans, structures stabilized. The city survived the final wave of attacks. Varric's fleet hovered silently, observing. He had never seen a species react so unpredictably and effectively under pressure. The human anomaly? Remarkable, he whispered. Armand collapsed into a chair, exhausted but triumphant. The glow around him faded, leaving him physically drained but mentally alive with understanding. He had harnessed the code within him, guided by the three women, and directed humanity's survival. Lyra, Neva, and Solon moved closer, calm and steady. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. You have completed the final phase. Your potential has been awakened. Humanity's true strength is revealed through courage, clarity, and action. You are no longer just an observer. You are a catalyst. Armand looked out over the city. The fires were extinguished, the rubble cleared, and humans moved cautiously but resiliently. The city had survived. Humanity had endured, and he had played a role in that survival. He felt something new. Confidence, understanding, and the knowledge that his abilities, guided by purpose, could influence outcomes in ways he had never imagined. The three women stood silently behind him. Their presence was calm but firm, a reminder that challenges still lay ahead, but that he was ready. Armin breathed deeply, letting the exhaustion flow through him, leaving behind clarity. The city outside glimmered under the first light of dawn. He had awakened fully to his potential, and humanity's true strength had begun to shine. The alien fleet withdrew, Varric observing one last time. He had underestimated humanity, but now he understood the unpredictability, the resilience, and the rare human anomaly that had emerged. Armand Vale had become more than human. He had become a force of survival and hope for his world. And as the sun rose over the city, Armin understood that the journey was far from over. The challenges ahead would be greater, but he was ready. Guided by courage, focus, and the mysterious code within him, he would face whatever came next. Humanity had survived its test, and he would continue to ensure it thrived.